Good morning once again. Good morning. I think I look as I feel this morning. I'm actually feeling very relaxed and somewhat happy this morning. Um, I just decided that you know what, let it be. Let me radiate what I feel inside. So just 1 minute. Let me quickly do my intro on Facebook. Today we are going to be talking about something extremely important. Extremely important. Yeah. Yes. So this morning I want us to talk about healthy relationship dynamics. This morning I want us to talk about healthy relationship dynamics. It's our topic for today, and I want us to talk about it. And why am I talking about healthy relationship dynamics this morning? It is simply because a lot of us are in very unhealthy relationships, and we don't know, or sometimes we pretend we don't know, so that we can free ourselves from the requirements of having to work and deal with the situation that we are in. And I feel like, well, there might get to a time that we might not be able to continue to pretend. We need to look for ways to get better and improve the situation in our relationships. And if there is anything that I know, that over time we build resentment when we are unable to deal with, the issues that are present in our relationships. We begin to grow resentment, and that is why people say that the more you stay in marriage, the less romantic it becomes. In fact, that is why some singles are scared of getting, married, because they feel like once we get married, then it means that the relationship continues to deteriorate simply because of marriage. But it's not necessarily because we are married. It's because we refuse to deal with and face the reality of our situations. That is why we always have to deal with, to be in an abusive or an environment that is not what we dreamt of. Everybody has a dream in their hearts when it comes to marriage. Everybody has a dream. There's a way that we have always wanted to be loved, and if we're not getting it, it means that, well, something is wrong somewhere, and we might not be facing it. But we may decide to grow the balls, permit my words, to continue to strive for the kind of relationship that you have always wanted. And that is why I'm here. It takes a lot of courage to be truthful to oneself, to understand that, yeah, I have a situation on my hands, and be willing to work on it. And before I continue, like my teacher taught me, once more, my name is Nikki Adekunle, and I'm a couple therapist and a relationship coach. And if working on your relationship is something that you're interested in, then you are in the right place. So, like I said in my intro, if we are not careful, we settle for less in our relationships. We are in anything less than a healthy relationship. And for a relationship to be interesting, and for it to continue to spark your interests and meet your desire and dreams, it has to be something that you're willing to work on. It has to be something that you're willing to invest the energy and time that is required. And so, what are those things that would make you know that this is my relationship? The dynamics that are operating here is less than what I would really want it to be. I think that's so as to avoid dysfunction and toxicity in our relationship. I think that everybody needs to understand what is obtainable and what you should not be looking forward to having in your relationship. So, one of the things that you should look forward to having in your relationship is that the emotional climate in your relationship over time. The relationship, the relationship climate in your relationship over time should continue to be stable. And what do I mean by that? When you are in a relationship, initially when we all started out, it was this whirlwind romance, and I couldn't sleep, you couldn't sleep if you have not heard my voice that day. Sometimes we didn't mind staying up till two, especially if you were in my generation, in those days of free MTN calls and everything, you spoke till, I mean, midnight calls, you spoke till daybreak, you couldn't get, everything was intense love. Everything was very intense. And sometimes we mistaken this intensity for love, and we continue to strive for and look forward to having that same intensity after we have gotten married. But truth is, the intensity in marriage would reduce. And we need to be aware of this. It is not because you love each other less. It is simply because you are learning to be better at what you are doing. The intensity, if that is all you are looking forward to, sometimes you begin to sabotage your relationship so that you can create that intensity. And it doesn't matter what how you are getting it. The only thing that matters is that I'm getting the intensity. And so sometimes people begin to stage manage quarrels because they need it to be intense. When you show me intense passion, that means that yes, we are in love. And so that is not, it's supposed to reduce. The emotional climate in your home is supposed to be stabilized over time. So in your relationship, when you're dating someone, and that is why sometimes we advise singles not to stay too long in the dating process. Have a timeline, have a time frame for whatever it is that you're doing. It should not last forever, And so when you begin to notice that, okay, things are not as intense as it used to be before, it means that we are growing. It doesn't mean that love is no longer in the picture. It doesn't mean that love has dwindled. It only means that we are growing and becoming more mature. And so if intensity is what you are looking for, and that is what you interpret as love, it means that you will be creating situations that are not necessarily needed just for there to be intensity. And so we stage quarrels, stage this, stage that, so that by the time we come back, and we've seen movies like that where people want apologetic lovemaking so that it will be intense, it will be, that is until when you believe that there's love in your relationship. But that is not supposed to be. You don't mistake intensity for stability. Intensity for love. Stability is what you should strive to grow into. And when you see people that always look for intensity in relationships, it means that most of the time there's something broken in them. Most of the time they are from abusive, or there's something wrong with their background, and that is why intensity is always mistaken for love. Secondly, in every relationship, as we go along the way, I think that we should be clear that in every healthy relationship, there should be no need to continue to pretend. There should be no need to continue to pretend, because initially we all know that, yes, we want to put our best foot forward. And we always, when we start out on that relationship, we wear our best clothes, use our best phonetics, dress well, do everything well. And it is expected. In fact, if somebody cannot do that for you, it's a sign that something is wrong. Because when you are meeting, that is that time that the person should be trying to impress you. And if at the very beginning, the person is not trying to impress you, then there's something really wrong. So if after a few months into the relationship, I think that one should be clear that we should not continue to expect our partners to continue to pretend. That's my English is long, but I know what I'm saying. Because when you expect that people continue to pretend and that means that you are not giving room for them, their real self to be present in your relationship. It means that you will continue to walk on eggshells around each other. I think that if there's anything that we can do in a relationship, and if it's already happening to you, don't continue to crave for what used to be in those days. A healthy relationship over time, you should continue to encourage each other to be normal around each other. Don't um in fact, there's nothing wrong with belging when you are there. After a while, there's no how you will stay with some people for a while and they will not belge where you are, they will not fart where you are. Especially for singles, try as much as possible to encourage normalcy around you. Don't put your spouse in that, or partner in that space where they continue to have the need to pretend around you. And so a healthy relationship is where you continue to, over time, reduce the need to pretend. Around you, they are who they are. They don't have to pretend about it. They are just who they are. And so I think that one should encourage it. In fact, if you are single and you've dated someone for about 2 months, 3 months, just encourage them. I know that you just cleaned up before I came. And let us just laugh. Let's take things a little lightly. Don't encourage them to be plastic around you, because if you encourage people to be plastic around you, it means that they will always have to think about what they say before they tell you, which makes it no longer authentic. And I have an authenticity guru in the house. She will tell you that, do not just continue to encourage them to be authentic around you. Find out who they really are, not what they are showing you. Because eventually you are going to live with who they are, not what you want them to show you or what you want them to be. So encourage, normalcy. You can tease each other. Don't take each other too seriously. There comes a time where we should be able to tease each other, laugh at each other, behave foolish around each other, and be okay with it. But what you should also not confuse that for, especially when it comes to teasing each other, do not encourage somebody to belittle you, because there are people that what they love to do is to belittle you, and they at the end of the day they will now begin to accuse you of being too sensitive. We don't need such people in our space. What you need is someone that that is that will be able to be normal around you, and at the same time respect you for who you are. That is one of the things that one should be looking out for in a relationship. Another thing is that in a healthy relationship, one of the dynamics that should be in operation is that there should be moderate jealousy. There should be moderate jealousy in a relationship. For every normal relationship, it is normal for you to feel insecure once in a while. It is normal for you to need reassurance. It is normal for you to want to be seen. You feel like you need to be seen and heard in a relationship. There are things that will happen that will threaten you, and you should be able to own up to what you feel. Don't Partners should not begin to interpret slight jealousy for a sign of doom or a warning signal. Once you are in a relationship and it's been there for a while, there should be the way a lady should talk to your man that should make you uncomfortable, and you will say, guy, this is my space. And there should be a way that a guy should be hanging out around you that your spouse too should feel like, or your partner should feel like, no, please, this is my territory and I'm going to protect it. If anyone does that for you, you should be happy about it. You should be appreciative. But what now becomes toxic in a relationship is when you are feeling insecure, it should always be about you. It should not be about your partner. And so when you want to communicate the insecurity you feel, you should communicate it something like this to your partner. The way that guy was talking to you, and it felt like you were reciprocating and flirting back with him, and it made me feel slighted. It made me feel like, am I losing you or something? Do not communicate what you feel to your partner as their fault. You are a whore. See the way you carry yourself. Everybody was just touching you. No, it should not be about them. It should be about you. Your insecurity should be communicated in a way that still respects your partner. Not, don't make it their fault. Make it your fault. Look inwards and see what it makes you feel. Not make it their fault that when you wore that dress, didn't you know that people will look at you? And you saw me wear the dress before I left home. So there should be a clear line between, there's always this very blurry line between what is healthy and unhealthy. And so the unhealthy part is when they make it your fault, for people wanting you, for people wanting to be your friend, for people wanting to be close to you. If a baby is fine, she's fine, and people will always want to be, and it should make you happy that, yeah, I want that fine babe. Not that you now try to make her ugly. Okay, don't dress nice again, don't spray perfume, don't make your hair, don't make up, and that is when, all those are signs of abuse, and we should not encourage it. So if there's anything that you should be looking forward to and being able to measure your own relationship by is that there should be moderate jealousy present. But there's also one other thing that I would also like to mention here. When your partner is being very passionate towards you and showing that they care and always asking where you are, and just because they care, and you now make it, you make it their, you begin to discourage them. That's, why are you calling me? You are jealous. Slight jealousy is necessary in a relationship. And if you begin to blame your partner for it, make it their fault for being jealous over you, then it means that at the end of the day, what you will build in them is indifference, where they don't care anymore, where they don't, like we'll say in Nigeria, they don't send. And you don't want to have somebody like that on your hands as well. So we should be careful not to always, that line, like I said, is always very blurry, and we need to be careful. So in a healthy relationship, we need to, their slight jealousy should be present, but we should not take it down to abuse. And the way not to take it to abuse is by owning up to your insecurities, owning up to what you need and feel in that relationship, and also avoiding building indifference in your partner. Because but we should not also encourage rageful jealousy, acidic jealousy. Those ones are very destructive. No, we're not talking about nobody can ever talk to you, nobody can ever, those are destructive. But there should be the presence of slight jealousy, which should make each other, it's reassuring to partners that, yeah, this person still cares. Something is crossing your territory and you don't like it and you are complaining is a sign of health in a relationship. And if it is not there, if your partner does not care anymore, then you have built indifference in that person. And we are going to talk more about building indifference in your partner later. But for now, suffice to say that building indifference in your partner is not going to pay you on the long run. And when they are jealous over you, appreciate it and know that, yeah, it's healthy. Appreciate that in your spouse and partner. Then another thing that I think that one should also pay attention to is in a relationship, a healthy relationship is free of manipulation. And manipulation, a lot of us think that we can never be manipulated. It's me now, I'm smart, this and that. But there are manipulations that are subtle and there are manipulations that are loud. You may recognize the ones that are, very clear and loud. And for me, I still think that for people that are loudly manipulative, I think I still appreciate them somewhat. So people that are subtly manipulative. But a healthy relationship should be free of manipulation. And what do I mean by manipulation? Is what you do to your partner to control them, to take away their will. If you are giving anything to anyone and you are not giving it with your free will, that is how God has designed every single one of us to be able to give with our will. Anybody that threatens your will or takes away your will, if the person is powerful, you would oblige the person. But over time, you continue to build resentment against that person, whether the person is your Lord, whether it is your boss at work, your children, anybody that manipulates you. Over time, the resulting effect is that you begin to, dislike the person. You begin to dislike the person. You begin to dislike the person. You don't want to hang out around that person anymore. You feel like, no, my will is being taken away. And people don't know how to, say these things. They don't know how to put it in words, but they know that something is happening inside me and I don't understand it. What is really happening is that your will is being taken away. Gifts are given with our free will. Even God in heaven made us and gave us the free will to choose whether you want to serve me, you don't want to serve me. It is up to you. But anyone that threatens and takes away your willpower, that person would, eventually you begin to build resentment. And it can happen in forms of, I don't want you to talk to that person again. Your parents, they begin to cut you off from all the people that matter in your life. That is, upfront. And which for me, sincerely, I think that you could see the signs more easily. But there are some people that they use subtle manipulation. Things like, if you want to give me. But if you don't want to give me, what will I do? Because I'm learning to, I will learn to do it by myself. Things like that you are not really free. They have created a situation that you are not free to say what you think. Our parents do it, our children do it, husbands do it, wives do it. And they create that subtle thing where your willpower is taken away and it's subtle. It's not, you don't feel harassed. Like I said, I prefer people that are upfront about it. You know that this is war on my hands and I need to deal with this however I need to deal with it. But, for the ones that are subtle, well, sometimes you don't even recognize it, but you just know that I feel uncomfortable around this person. And so healthy relationships, you should not permit manipulation. It should be free of manipulation in whatever form, whether it is subtle, whether it's upfront, whether it's clearly said or not. Do not allow yourself to be manipulated, and don't try to manipulate others. It always backfires. It will always backfire when you manipulate others and take away, like I said, manipulation is taking people's free will from them, taking away their choice from them, and guilt tripping them into doing something for you. Don't guilt trip people. You don't even want that kind of a gift, especially when it comes to love and marriage. You don't want someone that that is loving you because you are harassing them too. So please try as much as possible and recognize these things in your own relationships as well. Is this person cutting me off? Does this person have, do I make a choice at all? Do I even have a choice in most of the situations that we find ourselves in the relationship? Another very good thing that you should be paying attention to is healthy relationship argue effectively. There is, effective arguing. And like I said effective arguing in a relationship. Sometimes once there is argument in a relationship, people begin to feel like, I've lost it. This is not what I planned for. No, our relationship has ended. No, truth is, when there is arguing in a relationship, it's actually a good sign. It shows that you are not afraid to speak your mind. If you are being shut down, you will not be able to voice your opinion. You will just comply, be compliant. And being compliant is not something that you want to do all the time in a relationship. There should be something that, you should be able to speak your mind. You should not be bottling up. People that bottle up, they don't speak their minds. They are dangerous people to be with, because eventually it shows up in passive aggressive behaviors. They are, they don't, they will not talk, they will not say anything, but because they are bottling up so much pain and everything. It's and by the time they get angry, usually it's very explosive. You are dealing with explosive anger over little things, and you're wondering why is this. So please, when you're arguing in your relationship, don't think that no, our relationship has ended, life has finished. Why should we? We are supposed to be the best couple of the year, and now that we are arguing, it means that something is wrong with our relationship. That is always not true. It's a sign of health. It's a sign of health that you are able to communicate what you think and your interest is being represented, because arguments happen when your interest is not considered or represented. And that way you're like, we did this, I was not consulted. You did that, I was not consulted. Am I now, what is really happening here? And when you are demanding that, it's sincerely, it's a good sign. It shows that you are not afraid, because people that are afraid dare not try to complain, dare not try to make their opinions known or heard. They dare not. The only thing they do is comply. So if that is your situation, you find yourself that you're arguing in your relationship, I think it's fine. Know that is one of those things that must happen in my relationship, and if it happens, it's welcome to all of us. Another thing that should be happening in your relationship, if it's a healthy relationship, because like I said, a lot of us are staying in unhealthy relationship, thinking that things will be better and thinking that things will pick up later. So one of the things that should also be happening in your relationship, if you are in a healthy relationship, is that there should be growing vulnerability. There should be growing vulnerability in your relationship. And what do I mean by that? It means that in your relationship, you are able to communicate freely and openly, especially your deepest needs and your deepest fears, without the fear of being judged or misinterpreted. That is what vulnerability means. You are in that space where you can communicate what you think, especially those deeper ones, like being able to tell, you are vulnerable enough to tell your partner that, that I've always thought that I've had this fear that I will die young. Those are deep things that are going on in your head, because the beauty of being able to communicate your deepest needs is that it gets to that place where you are both open and unashamed before each other. You are both open and unashamed before each other, and that is a good place to be. If there is anything that your relationship should be doing, it should be moving to that point where you can completely say what you think, without, like, for instance, your partner is having a breakthrough somewhere, and you're like, wow, the way you are breaking through everything, I sometimes I feel like, am I doomed? Like, why is it that you are having it easy and me I'm not? And you're not feeling like, if I say it, they will say I'm a witch. It's just saying those deep things in you that you think and feel. And like I said, no relationship jumps to this point. It takes time to be able to communicate at this level and at this depth. But one should be moving towards it time, from time to, as time progresses in our relationship, as time progresses, we should be moving towards that place where we are being completely honest, and even with our needs. You know what, babes, I want you to hold me. I just need comfort right now. I want you to hold me. Those are some of the ways that you can, also, be vulnerable in that relationship, being able to talk about your needs, your fears, those deep things that scare you. And one of the things that it does is that there are things that we all think about. There are fears that we all have that affects how we behave. You may not know that it's being unable to talk about what you think and feel. You may not believe that it may be responsible for some of the bad behaviors that you exhibit in your relationship, because you expect that they know what the fear is. Sometimes you are afraid of failure, and your spouse is encouraging you, would you want to start that business? And you're like, no. And the person is thinking that, well, why are you so motivated? You don't even want to do anything with your life. You are just there. You are just, but in your own mind, the fear is, if I start this business, but the only thing your partner can see is your reaction, and he feels that your reaction is irrational, and he is dealing with you from that point of you have so much irrational behavior in you, not knowing that there is a fear that you have inside of you that is making you behave the way you behave. So sometimes if we're able to communicate our deepest fears, it prepares the ground for intimacy. And there's something beautiful. I'm always saying that there's something beautiful about a vulnerable soul that can be bare, that can, that can say what you really think and feel, that can own up to their own humanity and flaws, that makes you beautiful. And in that moment, you suddenly become something that your spouse wants to love and pour affection on. And if we know that this is what will eventually happen, I'm sure that a lot of us would want to do better. We would want to do better by, by communicating what our fears are. So I think that if there's anything that we should be doing, it is to communicate sincerely what we think in a relationship. We should communicate sincerely what we feel in a relationship. Try as much as possible to say those things. Yes, it's going to be to a willing partner. You can't do that with somebody that is unwilling. But I said that the goal should be to get to that point where you are able to communicate, vulnerably. Then another thing that is a hallmark of a healthy relationship is that in a healthy relationship, I think over time, one should get to that point. One should get to that point where you are able to, sorry, I'm having a little bit of distraction here. Let me quickly just sort this out. Sorry, 1 minute. 1 minute, everybody. Let me just quickly sort this out. Yeah. Okay. So another thing that I think that one should also be watchful about is in a healthy relationship, there should be privacy. There should be privacy. There should be privacy. I think that there are information that you share with people. There are parts of you that you share with people that you share because of trust. You share because you believe that you have something that is exclusive. You believe that it is because we are close, and you believe that they should be able to understand that these parts are precious to me. And if there is no privacy in a relationship, everything that you discuss is being shared with other persons, no matter who the person is. Sometimes people say that I talk, everything I say, I discuss with my mom. It can be, and it's a gender neutral issue. Sometimes men do it, sometimes women do it. That you just continue to, everything that happens in your relationship, you continue to divulge to outsiders. It gets to a point where that relationship, you begin to lose trust in each other. You are careful about the information you reveal, and one should be mindful of this, knowing that relationships, if you lose that trust factor, you are losing quite a lot. You are losing quite a lot. And so you should be willing to appreciate that there are things that my partner tells me that is for my consumption alone. There are things that my partner tells me that is for my consumption alone. It is not for anybody. I'm going to And even when you have fights, I think that you should be mature enough to know that that is not the time to go on social media. I'm going to expose you to the world. Things that you did in privacy is you feel like you're getting back at that person, but it is really telling the world about who you are. Because eventually, someone that has seen you do that might even be planning to do a business deal with you. And sometimes some business have some shady parts, and they are thinking, if you can do this to a spouse, you think that it's just your spouse, but what you don't know is that you are exhibiting who you are to the watching world. And one should be careful about how you handle private information in a relationship. Don't spit it on social media. Know the part of your life, and maybe you should also discuss what parts that you want to be out there in the open and what parts you would really prefer that is kept within the confines of your relationship. And so we need to, as a necessity, be be aware be aware that relationships will, and of a necessity, will communicate sincerely. Oh, Jesus. Yes, so we need to understand that relationships, there are information that is just for us alone, and we should not take out there. Some people honestly don't know, and we need to educate ourselves on this thing that I'm telling you. I want it to be between the two of us. It is unhealthy to use the things that you have told each other against each other, and especially if you have told the person. And there's some information that the person should even know. So if you're in that space where, what we pin, where what you are experiencing is always about what they have done, and they're always saying it out there. I think you should begin to know that you are in a relationship that is unsafe, and it is passive aggressive to very passive aggressive to reveal information that is meant for private consumption to the public. Then in a healthy relationship, I think there should be regulated expectations. There should be regulated expectations in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. I think for every single one of us, we need to understand that relationships, there are no perfect relationships. There are no perfect relationships anyway. There are no perfect relationships anyway. Relationships are, we take people with the whole of their strength and their weakness. And when people are exhibiting their weaknesses, I think we should not be shocked. They are just human, and we should not build dreams around people that they are unable to fulfill. We should not build dreams around people that they are unable to fulfill. Some people just have this, esoteric thing that they want from their partner, how he will hold me throughout the night. And if these things happen in movies, don't forget that it's a 1 hour movie, and there is a lot of cuts and pause that is happening around that script, where they just, so when you see the hand there 7 a.m., that they just cut it till 5 a.m. Nobody can sleep like that. And so some people just get angry over, seemingly little things, and believe that, you should be able to do this for me. There is no perfect relationship anywhere. And if there are issues, your own peculiar kind of issues in your relationship, I think that you should embrace it and look for ways to grow out of them. Don't think that it is ideal for you not to have any issues at all in your relationships. Don't think it is the ideal relationship when there are no troubles, nothing bad ever happens. It's just smooth sail. I think that is a plastic and ephemeral relationship, and we all need to know that it does not exist. Everybody posts pictures of when they are happy. Nobody posts the picture of when they are fighting. So when you see a couple and you think that they are always happy, think again. Think again. Is not everybody that is always happy. Nobody, no couple on the face of the earth that does not have their own peculiar kind of crisis. Everybody is managing one issue or the other, and you need to understand if the only thing that you need to be aware of is that, is this threatening? Is this healthy? And at at what pace should I be expecting growth? Because yes, you might start out in a relationship with some issues, but with time you are expected to continue to grow out of some of those things. And if you don't grow, at what pace should you expect growth? At what pace should you expect them to continue to drop some of these issues, the problems? At what point should you begin to expect an improvement? Well, you may need, sincerely, you may need to speak to someone that understands, and that is why we are here anyway. You may need to speak to people that understand the terrain to let you know that, okay, this pace that this person is growing is okay. This pace and what you're expecting, may not happen. So, some of those things I think we should just be guided as to knowing what to expect. So another thing that you should know in a healthy relationship, one of the things that you should also expect is that in a relationship, taking time away from each other is very healthy. Taking time away from each other is very healthy. Taking time to do your own thing. You should have a life. You should have your own interests, and you should also have your own friends. It's not all your interests that your spouse or your partner will buy into. And I think that is very key, because sometimes I think most of us, we have this exaggerated expectation that we will do things together. We will finish each other's sentences. We would love each other in a way that, we will never be away from each other. I think that is a bit unhealthy. And anybody that is expecting or demanding from you that you should always be in their presence, that you should always be where they are, that you should, that's a bit unhealthy. And I think that it should be addressed. You should be able to take time out. In fact, it's good for your relationship, because when you are away, when you come back together, you are able to, you give yourself room to miss each other. You give yourself room to be creative. That, okay, by the time I come back, I'm going to do this. It's going to be surprised. She's going to be surprised, and it gives you room to. But when you're always together, and depending on the kind of personality that you have as a person, it feels like somebody's choking you. It feels like you are being smothered. And sometimes I think that it's healthy, very healthy, to pursue your interests, to have your own friends, go with your friends and do what you like and what you love. Because another way that it affects your relationship is that if you are in that space and you continue to you are always in the same space trying to do things together all the time, what it does is that you begin to expect that they perform in a particular way, and expect that they love your interest. And when they don't show, commensurate excitement towards what excites you, you begin to feel like he doesn't love me enough, she doesn't love me enough. And when I tell her to do this, when I tell him to do that, he doesn't always like doing it. So I think that giving yourself understanding that, we will not always have the same interests. The things that interest him and the things that interest me may always be different. We have some similarities here and there. In fact, there is one very nice quote that I like, that if there are two people that are exactly the same in a team, then I think that one person is unneeded. The fact that you're different is something that we should embrace, and it's something that we should respect, and it's something that we should appreciate and celebrate, in fact, in our spouses. So I think that having time, together and separately, yes, is healthy in a relationship. You may even want to travel out of the country with your friends to catch up on old times. You may want to pursue a hobby. You have a riders club association that you ride bikes across, and your spouse is not somebody, your spouse is just risk averse. That way you just let them go. Don't worry, I'll be watching you from here, and it will be fine. And so far the person respects your space, I think it's enough. But expecting that we'll do everything together, because there are times that a lot of us have this kind of expectation where we will complete each other's sentences. In fact, that's one of the I think it is influenced by the media where people just know how you think and everything. Most of the time, you'll be marrying somebody that is a bit not in tune with everything that you are thinking and feeling. And which brings me to, the last point that I want to talk about, which I've already started talking about anyway, is the fact that in a healthy relationship, differences are celebrated. Differences are celebrated. In a healthy relationship, it is you expect to celebrate your differences. Difference. And it's a big deal because back in the counseling room, we know that I can tell you for free that most of the causes of the problems in most of our relationships is because we expect that, and we work hard at. We expect that we will be the same, and we work hard at converting the other person to become our extension. And it feels, when it is being said, it feels like that is relationship ABC. Everybody should know that. But truth is, most of us, we truly work hard at trying to convert our spouses to become our extension. We want them to think like we think. We want them to do things like we will do them. We just want, someone that's, like my twin and, an extension. And it is inappropriate. In fact, it is unhealthy. So if you have anybody, you are in a relationship and the person, their primary focus is how we can think alike, how we can do things alike, then I think that, well, okay. Then I think I've just been told that the Facebook Live has gone off. Please, you can just join us at Nike Speaks, Nike_speaks on Instagram, because I don't know how to fix that from here now. So, but you might just want to join us on the, Instagram. We'll post it later on Facebook. So I think that one should be careful to know that expecting us to be the same is very toxic in a relationship. In fact, it breeds abuse, it breeds misunderstanding, it builds crisis, it breeds conflicts. Any relationship that expects that, we should do things alike, think alike, like I said, one person is unnecessary. And the beauty of every relationship is in the difference. The beauty, we are going to talk more about difference later, but suffice to say for now that it is, and it will always breed issues. Respect your spouse's difference, and after a while, when you are learning to respect it, after a while, you begin to learn how to celebrate it. You begin to learn how to celebrate the difference that you have. The beauty is in the diversity, and I think that you should respect that and understand that and drum it into your ears that what I am fighting for most of the time is a conversion of my spouse. Sometimes women fight so hard to make their men become and think like women. And when they begin to think like women, at the end of the day, they don't like what they have. Because really, you do not need two of you on the two of yourself on that team called your team marriage. You don't need two of yourself on that team. What you need is, someone that is diverse from you, someone that thinks differently, and that is what makes the union rich. That is what makes the union rich. If something happens in your home, if something happens in your relationship, someone breaks something and one person is shocked, the other person should be thinking, how do we clear this so that it doesn't wound another person? But if the two of you are expecting that, okay, what we'll do is both of us will be shocked, then it is not going to go well for that relationship. I think we should learn that no, there are things that would happen that we would always think differently, and there is a part there is a part of you that will be represented, and there is a part of him that will be represented in that relationship. And if a part of you, if all that you do is one party is always the one that is being represented in that relationship, it means that you are in an abusive relationship. It's a dictatorship. It's not a marriage. It's not a relationship. So if you in that relationship, your opinions are not respected, you are expected to just be a clown and a clone, then it means that you don't have an opinion. Whatever your partner wants is what must happen. Whatever they think is what must happen. And it means that you will gradually lose yourself. And what it also means is that your partner will not have anybody to love, because yeah, they might be demanding for it, but it comes to a time where they begin to resent it, because there is really nothing and there's not really nothing exciting about you anymore, because when they ask you to jump, the only question you ask is how high. And when they ask you to, whatever they ask you to do, you're just willing to do. But after a while, you lose beauty. And always remember it. Before you begin to conform and just become the extension of your spouse, know that the way it hurts me is that eventually my spouse will fall out of love with me. And I'm sure that if there's anything you want to do, you don't want your spouse to fall out of love for you. So I'm going to, in our next video, I'm going to talk about how do we create this dynamic? How do we create it? Because there is an active setting up of these dynamics in our relationship. We may not be aware of it. There is an active setting up of these dynamics in our relationship. We most of the time set up these dynamics in our relationship and then begin to cry foul. But so what you are doing to encourage that dynamics in your, that dynamic in your relationship is something that we're going to talk about next time. And so if it has been a good video for you to watch today, please just like the video. Help us share the video, spread the word around. And if there is anything that you want to talk to us about, we are a school. We are a relationship school. It is called Swim Relationship Academy. We educate people on relationship. Those deep, intricate things that you hardly think about, but that goes a long way to affect your relationship. That is why we are here. And that is what we help you to unravel and to see clearly how you are contributing to the issues in your relationship. And so if this is something that you want to do with us, you please continue. And if you want to speak to us, we will drop our numbers, on the screen. We do online consultation and we do physical consultation as well. So if you are interested in improving that relationship, we'll be glad to help you do that. We'll be glad to help you do that in a healthy, practical way that you would see that, yeah, I've never thought of this before, and this is how I've been affecting and contributing to my relationship. Until I come your way next time, I remain yours, Nikki Adekunle. I'm a couple, and like I used to say, I'm a couple therapist and a relationship coach. If there's anything that I want to do, is to help change one relationship at a time. And see you very soon. Thank you very much for always being here with me. I want to say thank you to Nii Dumade for being here. Femi Adekunle is here. Who else is here? Vine Cake and Cream is here. Stella 126 is here. So many of my friends that are here on Facebook. I think we have gone off on Facebook, but we'll post it on Facebook and YouTube later. Thanks always. The encouragement is enormous. And until I come your way again, bye for now.